the attitude around the team after last week?
Yeah, we've had a tough couple weeks, right? And it's different than like in the past when we've had little, you know, sections of the season where we struggled. Um, we've had a lot going on. That's not an excuse, obviously, but we've got to work through that. And that's kind of what we've been talking about is not using excuses. I thought that we played inspired this weekend. We did not last weekend on the road, or no, I shouldn't. The last time we played, we didn't play for a week. You know, I actually like the bye was not a bad thing. The cancellation wasn't a bad thing. I think it was actually good for us. It allowed us to work on a lot of stuff that we normally wouldn't have had a chance to work on. And I think that people that really know the game and watch the game know that was a different ball club that was out there this weekend. Unfortunately, it didn't come out on the right side. But when you get 20 more possessions than your opponent, like we did both games, then you should win those games. The problem was that we didn't execute real well. We were running the right stuff. We had the right looks, and the ball just didn't go in the hole Saturday. And that was frustrating for them. That's nobody's fault. Sometimes it just doesn't go in. I mean, what an amazing look to finish the game, right? Like you're never going to get a better look like than that, I don't think, with 5 seconds on the clock. And the crazy thing is, we worked on that play that day in practice. And I said, man, if we're in a situation where we need a 3 late, this is what we're going to run. And so it's very rare that all the stars align, So literally when we walked out there, I'm like, dude, we're gonna hit this, we're going in overtime, and man, we got a good look, man, and it just didn't go in, and it's the right guy shooting it, it's the right it's just like it's not in the cards right now, but man, practice was great. Now we obviously haven't practiced since Saturday. We took yesterday off, but I would imagine knowing the guys in that locker room, practice is gonna be great today. We've got a tough road swing ahead of us in the month of February. But, man, look, the one thing that these guys aren't, and I'm not, are quitters. We're fighters, and we'll continue to do that. I'm optimistic and kind of excited to see as a coach how these guys bounce back today. Because I've had a lot of conversations with guys, obviously, yesterday. And they all seem to be in a good place, And so I'm definitely in a good place. I just think that it's frustrating when things don't go your way. It doesn't go your way, and this is where a lot of teams, every year hit a fork in the road, and we're there. Which way do we go? And I think I saw a good sign this weekend with our energy, our effort. It was just this week. The problem was our execution. The week before it was our energy and our effort. And like I said, we could explain all that away if we wanted to, but we're basketball players, and our job is to go out there and play basketball. So we'll figure it out. We'll find a way, and there's a lot of basketball still to be played, but we're going to have to do it on the road.
The last several years, you guys have been really good in February, and I think the hypothesis is that that's the point of the season where the players really figure out the defensive strategy. I don't know if that's accurate, or even if you see these guys are.
Yeah, we've had a couple good Februaries. Obviously, the last two. Before that we didn't need good Februaries. We had good Januaries and Februaries, but these last 2 years, January's been tough. But we actually started really well. We were 2 weeks ago, guys, we were 2-1. Beating Utah Valley, who was a league favorite, and going on the road and beating a really talented Tarleton team. They're obviously injured right now, so they're struggling right now too. But they don't have bodies. But they were full strength and ready to go, and those were great wins, and we felt good about ourselves. And then, the walls came crashing down, and for a lot of different reasons. But to your point, in February, I think. I don't want to have to be sitting here, saying, we're certainly not saying, well, we're always good in February, so we're going to be fine. There's reasons why those teams were good in February. A couple years ago, I made some changes to personnel and when I was playing guys, where I was playing them, was I playing them late? Last year, we actually kind of we tweaked some things offensively. We were pretty good defensively in January last year, but we had to tweak some things offensively. I think we're pretty good defensively right now. We've been good all year. We haven't been great. I think we were great this past weekend defensively. And I actually think our offense was really good in terms of game plan, in terms of what we were trying to do and attack. It just didn't go in. I mean, the looks that we had are guys that normally would make shots. Saturday I'm talking about, and they just didn't go in. So we've got to figure out, I think, some personnel things, honestly. So this year it's different than the last couple. And I think if we can figure that out, and what I mean by personnel, playing guys in certain points in games, and good matchups, and, what we were doing I think was working, and I think we honestly got away from that a little bit when we started conference play, and that was we were playing guys based on the game that night. There was guys that didn't play much on a Tuesday and played a ton on a Saturday, in our non-conference slate. And I got away from that a little bit when we started conference. Don't know why, we just did. And so that's kind of been the conversation, is making sure that we're sticking to guys that are, that are good for that night. I think you'll see a lot of that. There'll be a couple guys that probably didn't play much this weekend that will play a little bit more on Thursday. There'll be some guys that play a lot on Thursday that may not play as much on Saturday, and just because of matchups, right? And because all of them play with good energy and good enthusiasm and all that stuff. Like, they all up and down the line do that. So I'm not worried about that. It's just more about the matchups. And I think that's how we have to attack it this year, right? And so, but do I feel a little bit better that the calendar's turned? Sure. There's a little bit of that, right? Just naturally. But we can't just sit here and think we're going to be good in February, because we've always been good in February. We've earned that in the past, and we've got to make sure we earn it this year.
In the midst of kind of a skid like this, who have you seen kind of step up and lead it and say, we're right there, whatever, and then how have you seen them do that?
Yeah, I've seen Joseph Van Zant, and he's done that through his play. Joseph Van Zant has given every ounce of sweat in his body this last week, and he was doing it the week before, but it was even more noticeable this week. I thought he was really engaged in practice, and I think the 2 games he was fantastic on both sides of the ball. In terms of what, I know he didn't score a ton of points, but he was doing exactly what we asked him to do offensively. He was making the right reads, the right cuts, and then defensively he was all over the place for us. And a lot of those turnovers, we actually watched film on Friday, because we turned them over. I don't know what it was, 25 times or something like that Thursday. A lot of those turnovers were Joseph Van Zant, but on the stat sheet he doesn't get credit, And so we wanted to make sure that everybody in that room understood what Joseph meant to the team on Thursday, and then he did it again on Saturday. And so I think he's been a big part of it. Rich has been really good outside of one day. Rich was not good Thursday. I don't want to beat a dead horse. He knows it. And I'm not talking about his play. He wasn't a good leader. He wasn't, but man, he bounced back on Friday. And I thought he was fantastic on Saturday in terms of just the way he led the team, And so I think those 2 guys have been really good. But I've also seen some stuff from guys like Isaac Dye, right, who didn't play this weekend. I mean, he played a couple minutes Thursday, but his effort in practice and his mindset and his attitude, he's going to be a really good player here. Right now there's some matchup issues and stuff like I was talking about, but man, moving forward in this program, Isaac Dye is going to be a really good player. And so I would even mention him, even though, guys, he didn't play as much. It's not always the guys on the floor, right? And so I would throw Isaiah Carrillo in there. So honestly, he's just the effort and the energy that he's been throwing in practice to make this team better has been fantastic. And those are the guys that usually shut it down first. You know what I mean? The guys that don't get the minutes, they're usually the ones like, okay, man, I'm doing all this and I don't get to play much and we're not winning or whatever. But those guys haven't missed a beat. And so I'm really proud of those 2. And I'm sure I'm missing some other guys, but that group right there has been really important to us continuing right now. And I think that's not going to change as we move forward this week.
And with Isaac and Isaiah, they're always just so loud on that bench. How big is that? How encouraging is that, knowing they're younger guys, a little bit maybe less maturity almost at the younger age, but still giving it their all and what they can?
No, it's huge, man. And I think, we watch championship plays every week and from the weekend, and what we consider championship play, guys diving on the floor, grabbing, big time rebounds, making the extra pass. But we also show the bench, and those are championship plays as well. And so you see those guys every single week engage in what's going on. And I think it's important for them to know that we recognize it and see it. But I also think it's important for those other guys on the roster to see it, and that they need to be giving the same kind of effort when they're on the bench, And so it's huge, man.
A few more minutes for Christian Alston that had a pretty solid day on Saturday. What did you see from him?
Yeah, I actually had to plan to play him a little bit more on Thursday. But Sibo and Yanni were so good Thursday that it just kind of got caught in that trap, right? But man, I think what I should have done was played, Thursday, played Rich a little bit less, Christian a little bit more, and had Yanni at the point. But I didn't. And then so he was definitely in the plan on Saturday. I think I could have gotten him a couple more minutes Saturday, to be honest with you, because honestly, Braden wasn't real good. The effort was there. It wasn't an attitude thing. He just didn't have it Saturday. And so I probably could have cut him back a little bit more and played Joe at the 4 and and Chris more at the wing. But he got 10+ minutes, and it's noticeable because he hit some shots, right? But my conversation with him was he made shots because he was on the floor. He's always been able to make shots. What Christian was doing was everything that I've been asking him to do. And that's, getting passing lanes, stay in front of the ball, help us rebound. And he was doing that. And so because he was doing that, he gets to stay on the floor. And when you're on the floor, in your score, you can make shots. So, that's why he got more minutes. And that's why, hopefully, we'll see him play a little bit more this weekend. I think they're both bigger teams, and he's a bigger guard. And so he would definitely be in my plan this weekend as well. But I'm excited about what he's been able to do. He's had a couple great weeks of practice. Unfortunately, we didn't play the game. I think he was definitely the plan for Tarleton as well. And then, like I said, Thursday, he just kind of got caught in those two guys playing fantastic. And I didn't make a decision I should have made in the game.
Yeah. He's a guy you said can knock down shots, really talented. Are you feeling like he's kind of turning that corner in terms of, not necessarily buying into the team, but doing the smaller things right?
There's no question. Me and him have spent a lot of time together the last few weeks. And, Christian was somebody who, in our first scrimmage and our first exhibition game, started for us. And then for whatever reason, things change during the course of a season, whether it's getting comfortable or whatever, And I think he's kind of coming through that, and he's finding his way right now. And that's why he's playing better. And it has nothing to do with, he's shooting it better or whatever. It's that he's buying into what we're trying to do. And so when he does that, we could definitely use his ability to score.
And it's similar thing with Mashai Hill, got the start on Saturday. Really efficient, kind of what you see from him.
Yeah, I thought Mashai was great on Thursday, and so that's why I started him on Saturday. And he was fantastic defensively. Saved us a couple times the way we defend. We're going to get beat from time to time. You got to have a rim protector when you do that. And that's where we've struggled a little bit, which is why I pulled the pressure back a little bit this year. But Mashai, this week I just said, man, we're going to do it. We're getting out there. We're doing what we do. And I need you guys to help us at the rim. And Mashai did that. Unfortunately, I didn't get to play him as much as I wanted to Thursday because he hurt his ankle, and so he was really, really limited in the second half. I used him a little bit, but he was definitely a step slow. And so he'll play this week, but he's going to have to take some time off probably today and tomorrow to be able to play Thursday. But, man, I hope this doesn't slow him down. I'm confident it won't because, man, he was really starting to find his way. And the other guys, Cade and Joey, were good too. But Mashai has been playing really well.
And then last time you guys had Utah Valley, you were coming off of a tough loss to Utah Tech and really bounced back in that game. What's it going to take to kind of have a similar performance this week?
Well, we got to do the same thing. I think, number one, we shot the ball really well. When we played Utah Valley, that helped. And so we haven't really shot it great since then. We shot pretty decent Thursday. But, I think it's the same thing. The whole key was, we bounced back from a tough loss. And now we got to do it on the road. And that's a tough place to play. Not many people go in there and win. And so we're going to have to be better than we were when we beat them here in order to have a chance to beat them at their place. We got to have a great week of practice. We got to put the past in the past and not worry about it and strictly look at that game only. We're going to have to play a little bit different than we did when we played them here. I'm sure they're going to play a little bit different too. But yeah, I think it's focus, man. Right now it's strictly mental. The physical was there this weekend, man. But you can't win games if you're going to shoot 50% from the free throw line. If you're not going to get there as much as we should with our offense, it allows us to get to the free throw line more. And this weekend we didn't do that. And when we did, we didn't take advantage of it. That's mental, And then some defensive mistakes late in the game, Saturday specifically, were mental mistakes. And so we've got to get the mental back. The physical's there.
Yeah. You talked about that mental. Is that kind of something that you think could help with getting out of Abilene? You've been kind of
Sure.
for a while.
Sure, I think definitely, especially the way that the last 2 weeks went with the no games until this Thursday. But I think sometimes getting on the road is good. We've always been good on the road. I don't know why. We've never been great here. And I've been here 13 years. I'm talking about, we won 25 games, we won 27 games, and we weren't very good here. Honestly, when we played big games at home, I don't know what it is, man. And I don't know if it's the approach, if it's the – I don't know. Sleeping in our own beds is not a good thing. I don't know. Maybe I need to get them in a hotel the next time we play home, But there's something about the road, I think, just you're strictly focused on basketball, I do think some of it, and this is a good thing, by the way, our guys go to class. And so we're not in all online courses, and I prefer it that way. And I love it, the fact that we are that way. But, that is – so it is very different when we're at home and on the road. Our guys are in class all day Thursday, right? But – that's just an excuse, I think. But we've got to figure that out. I'm confident we'll go play hard. We'll play with some energy on Thursday. It's going to come down to, do we make shots? Do they make shots? Because we'll be focused on Thursday.
And then does it serve as kind of like a motivator to come back and have a big ESPNU game and be a lot of students after this road trip?
Yeah, I hope so. I think we played on TV obviously before. It is a big deal that, ESPN's never been on our campus. We've had all the other networks here at some point in my time here, but we've never had ESPN. And so I think that helps, as long as we don't get caught up in that. We got to make sure that, we're not doing things different because we're on national television. We got to be focused on the game and our opponent. Somebody who's fighting for a conference title right now is who's coming in here, right? And so we just got to stay focused on the game, but we really can't worry about that. We got Utah Valley on Thursday, and then we head to California.
Do you want to give an update on how the shoe auctions ended up?
Yeah, so the shoe auction was fantastic. I don't know the final totals, but it's over $7,000 we'll be donating to charity, which is fantastic. And I think last year we were around 5-something, and so we're up from last year. I do think it helped that Peyton did the shoes. I know we got one bid for sure because of that, and so. But I'm just super excited that people participated in that. We had some great bidding wars going on. We had a couple pairs obviously go for over $1,000, and those started in the 500 range, and so that's when it's fun, right? Is when people are going back and forth, and there's a little bit of a bidding war, and so I'm just thankful, man, that people participated in that Peyton was able to be a part of it. That he was able to be at the game Saturday. He was obviously coming to the game before I asked him to do that, but it just kind of worked out that he was able to come. And I'll say this, man, because we've talked about it a little bit the last couple of weeks. To see Peyton, to hug his neck and to spend some time with him was really special for me, especially after a tough loss. To see a face of somebody who is bought in and still bought into this program. All the former players, man, this program is about people like Peyton Ricks, and I think a couple weeks ago maybe that got lost a little bit, but that's not the character of our program. This, Peyton Ricks is the character of what this program is about, and Reggie Miller and Corian May, and I could go on for days. There's guys I won't mention, but the guys that have been flooding back the last couple weeks, I think shows how special this program is, because they know that we need them right now, and they've been gone for a few years, but they're still a part of it, and they still care, and that's pretty special. And that's kind of what this auction did a little bit too, was because Peyton did the shoes. Some other guys chimed in on some stuff, and Riley Payne is the winner of one of our pairs of shoes. Riley Payne goes back to my first year here 13 years ago, and when we were fighting and scrapping and playing 10 guarantee games, and it was a big part of how this thing got turned around in the first place. And so all that's pretty special, man. I know that's not really what the question was, but, that's been the joy for me through this, and that's what helps get me through maybe some tough losses. And it's one of the reasons why I never quit, man, is because when I do this, man, I'm doing it for guys like that. guys. That's why I got into this business, is for guys like Riley and Peyton and those other guys. And so we'll keep fighting, and I anticipate a good week. Thanks, guys.